Hello, everyone. It was a rainy June here in Georgia. Now it's a really, really hot June, and that's not a pun or a hyperbole. It's really hot, and so it was really typical of waiting for a toy show to come up because a lot of times when we have Dragon Con, as an example, Labor Day weekend, it's toward the tail end of Georgia summer, and we always hope that there's going to be this uncharacteristic cool down. Well, we had all of this very uncharacteristic and welcome cooler temperatures and rain most of June, and then suddenly the weekend of Joefest, all that stopped and it got super hot. And now tonight it's going to go back to cooler temperatures and rain. It's like you can't win. But anyway, I'll get to that. I'll get to the Joefest thing in a minute. Want to see what we have here in the chat. I wanted to get to these super chats real quick. Brian Dillingham, thank you for the Dillinghamsm. Good to see you, sir. And KBA is here. Thank you so much for the Kylie fund. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I see everybody is talking about the heat is bad everywhere. Okay. Oh, well, thanks, Sam. Oh, it's just okay. So California's bad, New York's bad. Oh yeah. Well, I can Savannah, Georgia. That's gonna be brutal. South Carolina's bad. Oof. Oh man. Yeah, you're whatever deal you made with the devil, Philip. Well, you guys live on a skillet, so and see, yeah. What's up, Brian? Let me turn my turning my phone's ringer off just in case. Hate it when a phone rings during a show. Rain, sun, and rain and heat. Yep. Oh, Michigan's bad too, huh? But it's cooled down. Lucky. Oh, a solar storm. All right, that explains a lot. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, John. You're very, very, very welcome. But it's a dry skillet. Oh, thanks, Nash. I appreciate that. I've made it a running joke for years, going all the way back to the Saturday live streams. I've made it a running joke that I don't join Facebook pop culture groups anymore because they always just descend into fanboy madness, double standards, hypocrisy, bias, all kinds of stuff. And the only reason that I joined that group was because of Jonathan running it. He and I are both fans that go way back to the indie fan message board days. And I finally got to meet him in person about a month ago. And he told me he was now running this group. And I was like, well, I'll trust that. So that's why I joined that group. But typically I won't join Facebook groups because it doesn't matter if they're toys or costumes or just movie discussion or whatever, they always end up, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, Matt Movies, thanks for the super chat. He says, did you have a chance to see the latest Mission Impossible film? Would love to hear your thoughts. I have not seen the latest movie. I wanted to go see it in the theater, and I haven't gotten around to it yet. I need to get to the theater and see it. I'll try to make that a priority. Hopefully, now that the initial crowds have died down, maybe I can go and enjoy it before it's gone. But I haven't seen it yet. No. It's okay. You can call me Michael. RetroBlasting is just a channel name. It's not a person's name. I hate it. I hate it when channels have nickname. Channel hosts give themselves nicknames. You know, Boomer and the Nudge. You know, like I'm Darth Jeff. It's like, oh, really? And by the way, I don't know if there's a Darth Jeff out there. If there is, I don't know who they are, and I wasn't targeting anybody in any channel with a guy named Darth Jeff. But I do think doing that with the name is dumb. Yeah, that was actually out in Arizona. I was out in Tucson, and I was there for work years ago. And I always travel with my hat and my bag and my jacket. And we went out to capture some footage for this video. This corporate video I was working on. And there happened to be this kind of like sort of recreation area for people at this sort of like national park kind of thing. You know, it really was a place to go to see certain cliff formations, but they had this kind of parking area that had this sort of little, I don't know if you'd call it a playground or just sort of a, whatever you want to call it, but they had this big, massive, you know, rattlesnake sculpture there. And they were like, oh man, Michael, you know, this be hilarious. Get down in front of the snake. Like, and so I did, and they took my picture. So it's one of my favorite Indiana Jones photos. And it just proves that you should always bring your hat and your bag and stuff with you when you travel. Dude, I heard about that, Drew. That's horrible. I can't believe they did that. Like, I mean, I can, but the fact that somebody stole your page and then you came back and they said that page I mean, Facebook is so busted. It's not even worth it. Yes, I heard it's only a few days away, like starts July 5th. Can't wait, because I have reached the end of Crunchyroll as far as finding stuff that I want to watch. So, yeah. Well, that's what they do, Brian. That's what they do. You have offered a fair suggestion, and because it's fair and reasonable, they are on the attack. Worthless. Hi, Michael. I've been rewatching the Adventure Series video and the last Hurrah video. Both are amazing. Thank you. Would you ever talk about the Dark Crystal? I mean, yes, I can certainly talk about the movie. As far as the vintage toys, they were only prototyped. I know that they did make a line that was kind of based on them about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Unfortunately, those were also hard to get. And I don't have them. So, and now I'm sure they're very, very expensive. But at some point I could talk about the movie. I grew up with it. Yeah. Well, I will. That sucks, Fly Highland. That's rough. What anime is that? Don't hold out on me, Fly Highland. What anime is that in your avatar? Let's see. Jonathan's a great guy. He's giving me some stuff for my indie collection. Awesome. I'd love to be at a meetup, Nash. I'd love to be at a meetup in the near future. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God. Nice to finally catch one of these again with my new schedule. Quick question. As a Superman fan, do you like the recent cartoon anime, My Adventures? I haven't seen it yet. I've only seen the previews. But I'm open to watching it. I just haven't gotten around to it. Charlotte is bad. Oh, congratulations on the snow speeders. That's awesome. Just want to say your videos are helping me get through a hard time I'm going through. Well, I'm sorry you're going through a hard time. You're very welcome, Jay. You're very welcome. Glad you're enjoying the content. Glad you're enjoying the drops. Awesome Michael's channel of awesome positivity. Awesome, Mike. I agree, Matt Movie 611 is just a channel name. Ah, right. Yep. Well, see, the way I always looked at your channel name, Matt, is that it was not you making a nickname for yourself. You were doing a riff on the old telephone movie schedule hotline, which I wouldn't assume is somebody's nickname. You know what I mean? I would never assume that. Like, so yeah. Doesn't it, Jeremy? It's just, yeah. True. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, John. Let's see. Find your lack of faith. I know. I failed in this moment. Wolfie, good to see you, man. Anyone got a line on one of those solar shield ships from Heir to the Empire? Yeah, for reals. For real. Yes, they did, Derek. Oh, they didn't steal it. I should have meant, I thought you were asking if they used it. No, they didn't steal it. They did get permission to use it because it was done and sitting there. I did not. My understanding was they did not steal it because they had to shoot with it for several days. That's a hilarious avatar, gotta say. 2000s kid who used to think the OG Kinder toys were lame. Thank you for helping me to see and appreciate the charm and ingenuity that went into that line. Yeah, and you know, I don't have any real hatred at all for the 1995 Power of the Force going into Power of the Jedi line either. Yeah, the figures were a little beefier or a lot beefier, but you got to understand that when you look back on that line as well, they did great adaptations of the Kenner vehicles with new stuff included. Some of their stuff was over the top. There were quirks about the Power of the Force, Power of the Jedi era, but it was a toy line with a world build. And you got your vehicles, especially, you got some smaller play sets, but at least you got all the big vehicles and then new vehicles to supplement and some new designs. And you got a lot of action figures to collect, and they were always plentiful. So while the aesthetic of the Power of the Force 2 figures wasn't always my ideal, that's a real toy line. Like, that's a real Star Wars toy line. So yeah, I'm not a hater for that era. Oh yeah, I've seen it. Every single social media platform seems to have an ad running for that film, which we knew about even before YouTube existed. So yeah, no, I've seen it. That would be send me a Gmail to retroblasting@gmail.com, and I'll send you a mailing address. And that's very, very kind of you, Lazarus. But yes, that's how you would do it. So I will, if you send an email to retroblasting@gmail.com, I'll answer you back with the address, and then we'll go from there. So thank you very much. That's very kind of you, sir. Let's see. Yeah, borrow the stuff from Das Boot. Let's see. You think that Indiana Jones guys would be interested in a purpose-built acrylic display for the Well of Souls that even allows for display of the grappling hook? Oh, I mean, yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That sounds cool. That sounds great. Maria, thank you for being here. I'd love to hear about the movie. I have the toys from 10 plus years ago, expensive when I got them, and I have to imagine it's worse now. Yeah, okay. Well, I can do that, Maria. It's It's going to be a little while, but I'm not opposed at all. I have the 4K of the film. I grew up with the movie. I think it's Henson's best non-Muppets work. And I mean that like it's a great film, obviously produced by Gary Kurtz, who did Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, of which I'm a huge Gary Kurtz fan. So yeah, absolutely. You really need to plan a trip to Tunisia. It's so worthwhile as an Indian Star Wars fan. Just bring some meds for see, I'm very aware of the whole thing. And you know, that's another thing that kind of I think I kicked the trash can. That's another thing that kind of stops me from that trip, because I've traveled internationally many times. I have no problem with airplanes, no problem with long flights, no problem with any of that. Indiana Jones got me so interested in history as a child that I tend to want to gravitate more toward visiting the actual sites of history out there. So, for example, I'm not interested in going to look at where they filmed a movie to pretend that it was Egypt. I want to go experience Giza and Saqqara and Karnak and the Osirion and you know, biblical Jerusalem and you know, Petra and Jordan and all that kind of stuff. That's what I want to see. Wadi Lam. I want to see all those places in Indiana Jones and Lawrence of Arabia that are historically significant. And so that it's, for me, it's less about seeing where they filmed a scene from a movie versus going to the places that the movie was simulating. You know, there are locations in actual Cairo that are extremely historic and in their own right, even though Cairo has become urban sprawl like so many big cities. The actual Cairo, for me, I think, would be more satisfying from a time investment and a money investment than Kairouan, Tunisia, where they happen to film Raiders, if that makes any sense. So no, I don't have a cold. Let's see. Just got my droid side gunner toy complete again. Oh wow. That's a droid's mini rig kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's a weird toy. That toy's bizarre. Schmobody, just want to say thanks. You're welcome. Came across your channel years ago and was blown away by your collection room. Oh, inspired me to do something similar. It took me a few years, but I finally finished it yesterday. Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. It's always more fun to have your stuff displayed than sitting in boxes. Absolutely. Just bought my first ever Sky Striker from eBay, planning on restoring it with 3D printed parts. Do you have any recommendations on how to not break it? Well, just unscrew the two halves and pull them apart. And make sure all the screws are out before you do that, and just go real slow. Curious what your thoughts are on the destruction of the New Republic in Star Wars. Well, if we're referring to the events of Force Awakens, The Force Awakens is a terrible film. So the sequel trilogy is a terrible dead on arrival concept. They're terrible movies. They should never have been made. Did you get around to watching the war movie, The Odd Angry Shot? I haven't yet, Simon, but thank you for the reminder. I will. See your take on Superman if you plan to see it. Yeah, I will end up seeing Superman at some point. I hope to see it in the theater, just like Mission Impossible, but I got to get around to the theater to do it. I'll probably wait until the fervor's died down before I do. But yes, I will be going to see it. Yeah, I've got everything primed. I've got to get it, or not primed. I've got everything filled and sanded. I've got to get it primed, and then I can. I've done the work on the railings, and I've done all that, and then I can get up set up at the table and figure out my filming strategy, because it's not going to be able to be shot in this room. I'm gonna have to shoot it like the flag out in the toy room. So we'll have to figure out a filming strategy, and then I got to write the script. But it's closer than farther away. So Power of the Force 2 was peak fire, yo. All right. I remember the day that I learned Power of the Force 2 was a thing. Some random kid's house. Weird looking TIE fighter without wing stickers, followed by an immediate trip to hills. Yeah. They did some really impressive stuff with that. I don't hate it at all. So, no, dude, I would never say that about London. You know that I spent my adolescence, my formative years there. I lived there, not on a military base. I lived in Surrey and Weybridge. So I was tubing into London all the time, or training in, and then, using the tube all around London. No, I would never wish ill on London. I have nothing but, I wish I was living there now. Let's see. Michael, are there any classic movies you've not seen? If you'd asked me this question like 8 years ago, I could have told you, yeah, I still haven't seen Godfather, and I still haven't seen, there were a few like that, but as far as like classic movies, yeah, there's always going to be ones you're catching up with, specific Westerns or specific, like I still haven't seen Red River. I still haven't seen a number of Capra's lesser known films, but I got the 4K box set, so I'm hoping to work my way through them. So yeah, I mean, time makes fools of us all. I hope you don't mind me asking how much you paid for your DeLorean, but I've always wondered. Well, that was a long time ago. That was almost, scary to say, that was the better part of 20 years ago. I honestly can't remember. It only had 2,300 original miles on it when I bought it, and I was officially the third owner. Yeah, I can't recall. And especially now that it's paid for, I really can't recall. I flushed that information. Let's see. Yep. You got me wanting to collect the 08 Indiana Jones line. Yeah, not perfect, but it definitely an honest effort. Historical things I find interesting. So that would be the very, very early Dark Ages into the early Middle Ages. That would be biblical history, like not just stuff in the Bible, but literally like the era of the Sumerians and the Egyptians and the Babylonians and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, the Crusades and the Knights Templar are big with me, and then going into the late 19th century with the British Empire, the Old West, going right into World War I and then World War II. That would be my overarching set of historical interests, and there's a lot to mine for there. Oh, you're welcome. Wave 1 collectibles? Okay. I will go check it out. Yeah, that convoy truck is awesome. It's really, really, really well done. Not a problem, Ra. There is no bell. There is no bell. I thought that was more of like a what if, or like looking to the future or something. I thought that was like a gimmick, almost like, hey, we killed Superman. I didn't think that was permanent. Oh, well, at least it's still a historical prison on some level, so you're kind of getting both. Um, yeah, same. They can't be unmade, but there were things that smarter people could do to just disregard them. Uh, no. I saw him and he saw me. And I was talking to I can't remember if I was walking with Scuba Pete or if I was walking with Matthew LaCroix at the time, um, through the aisle. But he saw me and I saw him, but I was walking. He didn't approach me or anything, and I had no interest in whatever, because his booth was just a big empty square with, like, I don't remember if it was a monitor or something. It was like, I don't know. He just had a Super 7 standing sort of booth. But no, I have no interest in I have no interest in Super 7. So even though I don't like the way Brian Flynn runs his business, I also have no reason to just go up and just engage somebody like that. Like, it would just be antagonistic, and there's no reason to do that. Now, if Brian Flynn had done or said something, which he has not, that was confrontational or whatever with me, then certainly I would politely address that with him and not, disregard him. But he hasn't done anything like that. It's more of just for me, Brian Flynn is an eye roll and a non-starter, and it's like I have no reason to waste my time trying to build a relationship there. Chasing 80s toys. Holy crap. First of all, glad you got back safely. Thank you so much for the kind super chat in Arthur Morgan's voice. A big thank you again, partner, for joining the trail at Joefest and the day after Joefest. Greetings, Chris. Thank you, sir. So that was the real highlight of Joefest, was that I got to meet this man right here. I got to meet Chris Miwa from Chasing 80s Toys for the first time after years of knowing each other online. And it was great because I got to meet him the moment that I got there and met them while they were finishing breakfast at the hotel restaurant. And then I got stopped a lot, as he did, walking the floor, and we got separated. But fortunately, he and I were able to ride back together from Augusta to my place, which is about a 3-hour drive, in the Jeep, and we got to talk the whole way, and that was really, really great memory, because we talked cars and Top Gear the whole time, and then he stayed over with at our place with Scuba Pete, and then we took him around on Monday to a few local haunts. But it was really, really great meeting Chris. Like, that was the true highlight of Joefest for me. Because when I went, I didn't go to really buy anything. Like, I went just to hang out with Master Son and Drew G, and I got to meet Zocab, and I got to see Matthew, and Scuba Pete and I, were kind of, we were going to hang out with each other there, and so that was really cool. And so it was great that Chris was, and I got to not meet, I've met him before, but I got to hang out again with Shabby for a little while from Matt Tez and Shabby's show. So it was really, really cool to meet him. That was a lot of fun. And I hope that it won't be the last time. So, and there's the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend. So here's probably one of my favorite stories from this year's Joefest. So Master Son and Drew and I were just kind of, milling around, and we got to the front of the showroom, and we were about to kind of head out to find some seats to just kind of sit down or whatever. And I ran into Steve from Let's Toy, which is, if you don't know Let's Toy is an amazing Instagram toy photography page. And I've known him for a long time. He's an in-person local. He and I kind of meet up sometimes at Dragon Con and stuff. He's really, really nice guy. And I ended up realizing that he was there. I immediately realized he was there with his wife, who I had never met or, interacted with before. And she's this just awesome Japanese woman. She's so cool. And so time got away from all of us because we were all sitting up at a lounge table in the convention center, sort of a get off your feet kind of area. And it was probably about 5, 6 o'clock when we got started, and we were all just talking and laughing and having a great time and all this kind of stuff. And suddenly my phone rings, and it's Melinda, and she says, hey, she says, are you on the road yet? Are you on the road to come back? Because my plan had been to only be there Saturday. And I said, oh no. She said, well, it's almost 7:30. She goes, if you get on the road now, you won't be home before the sun goes down. And she's like, and I don't want you driving, that late when I know that you've been up since 7 a.m. and you've been, walking this convention, and you're probably more tired than you realize, and all that kind of stuff. And Master Son and Melinda have what I would call a relationship of collusion against me, but they're also both very protective of me. And Master Son, basically, from the way I recall, he basically, because she was basically on speakerphone, and he was like, tell her you're not going anywhere, or something like that. And I was like, Master Son. She goes, and so basically Master Son said, you stay at my room, tonight, because he had like a bigger room. And I guess somebody who was supposed to use the other half of the suite ended up canceling or something like that. So thankfully I was able to not drive in the middle of the night. But that was a great evening. Just getting to hang out and just talk and joke around and laugh with Drew and Steve and Master Son and Pete, and just a really, really great time. I got to meet Zocab in person for the first time. Zocab is a really, really great guy. Just a really fun time. Exactly, Brian. Exactly. Yes. Yep. I have that one. Pretty sure I have that one. Let me see. Is Chronically Online still around? I noticed his videos are privated. He's still around, but he's not doing YouTube anymore. He decided he wanted to go focus his time and energy on something else. He still watches YouTube, but he doesn't want to run a channel. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you, Pedro. I will make sure to read that. Good advice, Jeff. Good advice. Sure. I'm into anything. I'll watch anything Hitchcock made, even if I have my opinions on it. I'll watch anything he made. Let's see. I don't believe thumbnails, because I thought Michael was going to visit a snake farm. No, I just, for the thumbnails for live streams, I just kind of grab an image from some random moment in my life and just kind of put it up there when I'm just doing these one-on-one shows where it's just me. Yes, she's seen Buckaroo Banzai. I can't recall what her opinion was of it, but she's seen it. Yes. Yep. Always great meeting people that you chat with every day. Absolutely. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. I haven't seen that yet, Ragamuffin. I need to go look that up. But I remember you mentioning that the last time. I'll make it a point of checking that out. Oh, thank you, A9. I appreciate that. You're very, very welcome. Very welcome. They do, sir. They do. If that had been, I want to tell you something, Lio. If that had been Val and not Brian, I would have walked up to him and said something, and you know what I would have said. But Val wasn't there, so let's see here. Oh, the stupid thing jumped on me. Yes. I will be. I've been writing the script for it, Ned. It wasn't already asked. Yes, I will be. I've actually got the script. Let's see. Let me pull this up here. No, I don't want to open Steam. There it is. Hey, look, it's a little preview you can't see of the Hagenai script. So yes, I'm working on Hagenai. Yes. You say that show was nuts. I think the show's hilarious. Biggest missed opportunity in the Indiana Jones retro Kenner line. Streets of Cairo, Marion would have filled in so much. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Imperial Bricks. Hope all's well with you, too. I'm doing okay. I agree with you on Hasbro's Indiana Jones Adventure Series figures. Even the standard Temple of Doom Indiana Jones has major flaws. Yeah, it's just a big disappointment all the way around. Just come back to this for a minute. I can't wait for everybody to see that video. The period of 800 AD is really fascinating period for me with Charlemagne, Vikings, all Andalus. Yep, agreed. As well he should. Scott Knudsen. Have you seen the documentary The Crusade? Yes, I have. Yes, I saw it years ago. It's excellent. Really unexpectedly threads that needle with contemporary culture of the day. So it kind of is constantly going back to the present day and drawing, connections and stuff, which, makes it truly unique. Thank you for the super chat. I want to build a 375 scale German flying wing for my future indie collection. If they have, I haven't seen their work as far as if anyone's done a custom one. Yes, it is a major Hasbro miss, but I've never seen anybody's customs of it for figures. I have seen obviously the Lego one, and I've seen the Brickmania one, which is third-party Lego, meaning custom Lego kits. But I've not seen an action figure version, which it's too bad. I have not purchased any of them. I was given a sample at Joefest. I have it right here to show. It came in the bag, Delta 17. So I got this guy, the Elite Sentry. So I have him. And I have this Hailstorm unit thing. And then I have somewhere I have, oh here, nope, that's not it. It must be in my bag. Somewhere I have the weapons pack that they were selling. But I'll probably put these in a roundup video at some point. Okay. I remember you thinking about collecting Kenner Jurassic Park Lost World. If you're still interested, get the Red Rex from the JP line and the Buck Rex from the Lost World line. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the advice. Would you recommend picking up the Goliath Power Saber, Michael? It seems tempting, but the lack of official Star Wars sounds. Well, look, man, if you're a brand junkie, then I would say pass. If you're that much of a brand junkie, if you just got to have that licensed logo and stuff, and I would assume by your name and your logo, you are a brand junkie. I wouldn't be surprised if you have this tattooed on you somewhere. Then I would say pass, because all you're going to end up doing is complaining about it, which I know a lot of people say I complain, but I don't go in worried about whether or not it's brand this or brand that. But if you're a dyed-in-the-wool, I'm just a Star Wars guy and I just want to have that registered trademark, then you're already asking the question. So I would say you just need to avoid it, because you're not gonna be able to look past that. You're very welcome, Schmobody, and thank you for the super chat. Very, very kind of you, sir. I've met Sergeant Slaughter in the past. But I've met him before, but I saw he was there. Yeah. Let's see. Jeremy, thank you for the super chat. He says, wish I could have gone this year and gotten to meet more of you fine people. Maybe next time. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a really good time. But I know you're down for a reason, and I'm glad that you chose discretion on this one, so that hopefully we can find a way to get together, later in the year or next year. Agreed, man. Agreed. Well, I have all of them, Jay, so far. I keep waiting, and I have them all as the limited edition British sets. I keep waiting for them to announce the next one, because I never want to miss out on those. But I like them a lot. I wish that there was, as with all these kind of restoration sets, like with when they did Star Trek The Next Generation in HD and other things, mistakes in the remastering get through. There were some errors that happened in the reassemblies of the first released Peter Davison season 19. And there's no way to go back and correct for that. And now, with all this stuff that's happened, because those sets began before this whole AI revolution that they're now leaning into hard. All these people are saying, well, now they could really AI them up to 4K. And I prefer they wouldn't do that. I like the way they've been mastering them, with people doing the work, the eye and hand effort that's gone into this Herculean task. But one of the things I fear is that these last remaining seasons will end up having AI employed on them. And that would really sadden me in so many different directions. So no, I really like the ones they've come out with so far. I have them all. You can see pictures of them. Every time I get a new one, I take a new picture of the shelf. You can see those on my Instagram. Let's see. Analog Toys, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. He says, hey, Michael, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Hasbro canceling their planned G.I. Joe classified police officer figure. Well, corporations are going to run from anything that's even has the remotest possibility of being controversial. And in this case, I bet you Hasbro's doing that thing where they go, oh, no. It's kind of like when 9/11 happened and suddenly every movie that was set in New York started scrambling to either not come out 8 months later and digitally erase the Twin Towers from every shot they showed up in. They worry that we're all so fragile. And so in this case, because of all the demonstrations and unrest that's gone on across the country, I'm sure they thought, oh, we can't bring out a cop right now, because the consumer won't be able to separate G.I. Joe from what's going on in the world. It's like, I don't know. To me, it smacks of the same thing that Hasbro did with the Indiana Jones Adventure series, where they're like, no, we're not going to bring out, you know, Germans and thuggies and Russians and everything like that. We're just not going to do it. Well, then why do it at all? I don't know. People need to stop being wimps. Yes, we are. The next one that we're supposed to do is going to be either 1917 or Saving Private Ryan, if I recall. We just got to coordinate it and get it going. Let's see. Been slowly collecting Power of the Force 2 figures for a while now. Mainly just been getting characters I like instead of waves. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Power of the Force 2 is still wonderfully affordable. And they're real toys. It's just the sculpting that some people, you know, have to adjust to. Well, inside shelves, I have these things called doors. And the doors close to keep the dust out. On top of the shelves, I just don't care. And then when I do have to take things down or move things, that's when I dust. So I just dust when the need arises. In other words, if I have to move stuff or take stuff down, that's when I have the opportunity to dust, and that's when I do it. But I don't get all worried about dust and stuff like that. Life is too short. Yeah, but, you know, these things occur. Yeah. Wait a minute. Indiana Jones and space is like Castlevania in modern time. Oh, Indiana Jones in space. Yeah, Indiana Jones in space would yeah, absolutely. Well, guess what? Corporations are going to always make that play, IMJ. They're always going to do that. I never really knew who Flynn was until he spoke to me at the show. I don't care for Super 7 products, but he was nice to me. Like I said, I don't have a direct beef with Brian, but I don't like his stuff. So I don't like the way he makes business decisions. But I'm not going to just walk up to a guy I have no relationship with and just say that to him, because that's not. You remember what we've talked about, Master Son? Everybody on the internet thinks I'm this rude, awful guy when I'm not. Because when you and I are at shows in person, when have I ever been mean to anybody? Never. So I don't start fights. All right. Like, Brian Flynn is welcome to do his own thing, and I'm not going to be an unnecessary thorn in his side. I have the choice to not buy his stuff, and so I don't. And when I did, it was for some Ninja Turtle stuff that I then did the video on, and I actually said, you know, the price and the packaging were too much, and I didn't understand the accessory decisions, but the figures themselves were decent enough. I didn't roast the company for it, but by and large, wasn't happy with the way they rolled out Silverhawks, and I don't like the way they price stuff. I don't like their assortment decisions, and I also don't like the bait and switch that he did with the vac metaling on the Silverhawk. So I chose not to purchase them. And if I choose not to purchase from them, I'm also not going to waste time getting in his face about it. That's what a certain other YouTuber does when he's at shows and just harasses vendors. I'm certainly not going to align myself with somebody like that. Let's see. Also, I'm probably way behind here. Did you like the large size scale X-Wing that yeah, I've already done videos on that. If you look at my Rogue One two-part toy feature, I go through that. I have the Empire Strikes Back one. It's hanging in my TV room. Let's see. Right, which is another reason why I didn't approach him, because RetroBlasting, while I think in my videos about his toys I've been as fair and objective as I can, in my live stream discussions I've been about his company far more direct. And I'm direct in my videos, but in the live streams, we end up talking about the company and not the products. And so, you know, I'm not gonna waste my time with him. For those of us who are listening but not watching the screen, could you read that chat out loud that you're responding to? Really? Bob. God. Good God. Good God. Good God. Have you been seeing that Hasbro has allegedly been suppressing the Transformers collecting lines from certain Walmarts? 3 of the 6 Walmarts around me had them, but the other 3 only had the gimmicky kids' toys. I wasn't aware of that, Treebot, but I'm not surprised. I'm not really up on the whole. Transformers issue lately. What items from your collection have you moved on and still regret, or items you've passed on that still haunt you? That's another thing. I've been reading most of the chats as they come up because I think I haven't read like just a few comments that weren't questions. Come on, Bob. What items from your collection have you moved on and still regret, or items you've passed on that still haunt you? Anything I moved on in childhood, I've pretty much reacquired, but I didn't move on that much in childhood. I was able to hold on to most of it. As far as items I've passed on that still haunt me, I mean, if I had to do it all over again, I would probably buy things in reverse. Like, I would have finished out some of my more obscure lines before I then went in and finished out my Star Wars stuff. I would have done that. I would have flipped that because of the way the prices went on the obscure stuff. I could have gotten all of that for pennies back in the day. And the way it ended up working is I only got half of it for pennies before prices went crazy. Star Wars was always going to be crazy, so it wouldn't have mattered either way in that regard. As far as items I've passed on that still haunt me, I can't really think of anything at the moment. I mean, I wish that I had been more diligent back in the day of getting the card backs with my Kenner Indiana Jones figures. When I collected them about 15 years ago or 13 years ago. But yeah, beyond that, I can't think of much. I was kind of dogged in that regard. Let's see. One small thing that annoys me about the Doctor Who Blu-rays is the fact they didn't use the classic Doctor Who logo. Agreed. I haven't seen X-Men 97. I don't have Disney Plus. Speaking of Joe's, when are we getting classic good old boy cross country and classified? You'll have to ask Hasbro that, Gnomsky. I have no idea. Scott Knudsen, thank you for the super chat. He says having an AI remastered Doctor Who ironically sounds like the plot of a Doctor Who episode. Yes. You did miss it earlier, Cyber Rat. I gave an update on the Bespin playset earlier. Let's see. Spider-Man's entire movie trailer involving a web between the towers with a helicopter stuck in it. I remember seeing that in theater advertising the movie. Yep. Let's see. Michael, at some point, it would be fascinating to see you, Melinda, and Tony talking about Sergeant Slaughter's run as an Iraqi sympathizer from the perspective of Joe fan. I remember when all that went down, for sure. I also remember they kind of did that to Iron Sheik as well, I think. They kind of tried to make him all, what's the word I'm looking for? They kind of made him all at the height of that whole Desert Storm thing. They did that too, which was really weird. removing Hooded Cobra Commander or not calling Cobra a terrorist organization, which, yep, they've already done that too, Ra. Yeah, you're right. That's a great example. Great example. I was actually downtown on 9/11 and made my stomach turn that some morons wanted Peter Jackson to rename the two. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was dumb too. What a huge eye roll. Okay. Let me see here. I personally love how ugly the Power of the Force 2 figures are. They are by no means perfect, but they have so much character. Yeah, they do. And they were affordable, and they were easy to find, and they world built them. Yeah. What do I think about prototype toys? I know there's a market for collecting prototype figures. Doesn't really interest me. I've ended up with a few over the years from people who've just gifted them to me. And I've kept them safe, but I'm not interested in things that weren't the stuff that we were buying as kids. I'm not interested in having some weird, like, blank or one up, or like when it came to Stan Solo, for example, and he sent me that prototype of his unproduced Indiana Jones. Well, that was basically the finished factory sample. So I could really get a good sense of it. It wasn't a blank, or anything like that. And that's different. I treasure that piece. But yeah, it's not something that I really go after, especially given how much they cost versus what you get. I know Tony really loves having the vintage Palatoy prototypes and stuff, and that'd be great. I mean, if it was an unproduced toy and I had an example of it, like a rather finished piece, like the 12-inch Kenner Bespin Luke figure with the prototype box and everything, that's totally a different level of prototype. I'd love to have something like that, but some of these like first shots and test shots and whatever, it's like, whatever. Anyone who wants to dust the top shelf, as Michael put it, might find that a girl's makeup brush is a true. Oh, okay. Good to know. Thanks for the super chat, Diddy. If Kenner had made the prequel figs, is there any playset you'd be interested in to see? For me, I'd love a Kenner style Geonosian Arena and Beasts. Well, I mean, Kenner was a sub-brand of Hasbro when Power of the Force 2 launched, and then Hasbro retired the Kenner brand for the Episode 1 line, and so they could put their Hasbro name on it, because at that point their ego was like, this is no longer just a revived line. This is going to be our claim to fame, which is a weird corporate flex. And then they did a Geonosian Arena. So it's hard for me to kind of, I would need to refamiliarize myself with the Hasbro Geonosian Arena's features before I answer your question, because they might have done a Kenner decent job. As an example, the Power of the Force 2 Endor bunker and even the Hasbro Lars Homestead, I think, are very Kenner in the way they were made. So the Geonosian Arena might be fine for Kenner style figures, is what I'm saying. I'd have to look at it and see. But as far as like prequel play sets, I can't really think of anything from those films that I would be desperate to have as a play set. I mean, not particularly, no. Right? Yep. Are we a republic or an oligarchy? Oh, wait. The lack of communication by Hasbro really paints the police in a very bad light. On a PR level, it's bad. They should have just lied. Yeah. Mean people call Michael mean to troll and spread. Yeah, that's true, Cute Fluff. That's very true. Oh, that's very kind of you to say, Tim Hayes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Agreed, Robert's Infinite Realms, but also agreed on Michael's simply made point is what organizations will do for their public virtue safety. Yeah, that is for sure. Oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Could I do your taxes for you? Oh, so that's good, Ving. Michael sounded like he just aged 10 years with that comment. Yeah. Let's see. Who's your favorite obscure Star Wars character? That would be Hambone McGillicuddy. No, my favorite obscure Star Wars character. Well, a lot of fewer and fewer people these days don't know about the expanded universe, so I would say Mara Jade is definitely my favorite non-canon Star Wars obscure character. But I also like pre-Jedi Koran Horn. I also love Jackson, the green space rabbit from the Marvel comics. Oh, that's very kind, Cute Fluff. I appreciate that. Hi, Michael. Many moons ago, you mentioned doing a Sectars review. Is that still on your radar? Yeah, because it is. Because I definitely want to finally box up my Hive and get it and get it stored up and get it out of my way. I was looking at those just the other day. They even tried to change the Sheik's name to Colonel something. Yeah, I remember. That's what I was remembering about that. Yep. I have a large collection of sealed Star Trek TNG figures. I've not seen much about them here. Your thoughts about it? My thoughts on those are on the way. In fact, it's one of the most asked about and long delayed videos that people know that I could do. So yeah, that's coming. Rezakai, and he's always going to have my vote of approval because Kodaka is his avatar. The Transformers issue may be the area Walmart selected merch. Large university cities like Columbus with Ohio State don't get a lot of toys since the clientele is so young adult. Suburban stores get them. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. But that makes sense. Thoughts on vintage Japanese Sofubi toys and their incredible rise in value? Didn't have any awareness of that, Knights of Old. I'd love to know more. Give me the details. Selling my mask collection as a child haunts me, struggling to find them now at reasonable condition and price. Yeah, it's crazy the way some of these sidelines have gone up in price. I would like to see O-Ring Star Wars figures. Is Black Major on here? He's not on here, but I follow him on Instagram. Yeah, no, I can totally understand why you'd want those. We wanted them as kids, as you probably did as well. Are you planning to do some day visit to Mexico on a con? I haven't been asked to be at any. Typically when I go to cons outside the United States, it coordinates with a reason I have to travel to that area. Like I did in Australia, I was delivering that barge, and it just so happened to fall on the weekend of the Malvern toy show. So I was able to go to that. But typically that's the only time I'll end up at shows outside the US, unless I've been invited by the show itself to be there for something like that, which would be great. But no, I haven't had any plans to do so yet. I'm not opposed. I just haven't had any ability to do that. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Cute Fluff. That's too bad. That is too bad. I read. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I read about this on the news. Yeah, that was tragic. Oh, I'm so sorry for her family. Flash Johnstone. Hi, Michael. You got some Fwoosh ninjas to use as Ryu Hayabusa. Have you considered any figures to use as your Double Dragon? I have, but then I heard they're coming out with Double Dragon figures, so now I'm going to wait. Why do today what you can put off until tomorrow? So I'm going to wait and see how those look before I do any customizing. I'm you're talking to IMJ. Okay. IMJ, yeah, I'm just pointing out how that mentality is severely flawed. Doesn't mean it changes, but an observation. True. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised they make G.I. Joe figures at all, given how safe they play things. Yes. Hasbro is very much a spooked horse of a company. Are you a fan of Spaceballs? Yes, I saw it 3 times in the theater. And are you looking forward to the sequel? I'm cautiously hopeful, but I know when he finally made History of the World Part 2, it was a little bit of a letdown. And I'm not a fan of Josh Gad. I don't like Josh Gad really at all. So that worries me. So I'm just going to wait and see how it turns out, get some word of mouth, and then maybe check it out. Thank you, Lucas. I hope you're doing well too. Good to see you. Do you happen to have an address for us to gift a random act of kindness? Well, Korean Cardboard, that's super kind of you. Yeah, send me a Gmail to retroblasting@gmail.com. Just channel name @gmail.com. And I'll send you the address. Absolutely. And thank you so much for the kind offer. Michael, I've not seen those 3.5-inch computer discs on your desks in years. Master Son, I hope you're still here for this, because it happens every live stream. Master Son gave me these. They're coasters. But I do have 3.5 floppy disks in a box in the equipment room. So yeah, these are a gift from Master Son, and I am using one right now for my drink. And by the way, everyone, just so you're aware, if you didn't know already, Master Son is without a doubt one of my. If someone was to ask me, was doing YouTube worth it, even with all the stupidity that you've dealt with and the drama you didn't ask for and the headaches and all that stuff, what would be the reasons that it was worth all that? Master Son is in the top 5 reasons that it was all worth it. And those 5 reasons are not ranked. They're all in a line. Master Son is one of the best people I've ever met in my life. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Do you think this will kill future HasLab products, since this is the first time they're basically re-releasing a past HasLab? Which HasLab are they re-releasing? Was it the the Proton Pack or whatever it is? Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna go for them. That's a little sketchy. Take it easy, John. Did I like the 2000s Tomb Raider movies? Well, John, if you watch my Indiana Jones 5 review, you will get your answer. You will get your answer for both of them. Let's see. You must come to Mexico City. You would have a blast. We have lots of places to look for toys, comics, and video games. Nice. Take it easy, IMJ. Thoughts on Hasbro attempting to crest a mass online retail version? Yeah, it's. I mean, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, you're in luck. I thought the Afterlife version was ugly. It's not coming with mounting brackets for the Alice frame. You're gonna have to get third party on those, so that sucks. And doesn't come with a wand, of course. So that sucks. You have to track that down. You know, Hasbro's going to Hasbro. Do you think Hasbro doesn't have the juice to create a new version of G.I. Joe? They don't. They don't have the juice to create anything new. They're rubber stamping old stuff that other people made. They don't know how to create anything new. Let's see. Thanks, Sebastian. Good to see you too. Hasbro really did bad the whole Indiana Jones Adventure line. I was expecting at least soldiers without the swastika, but no, they just give up the line like Lucasfilm gave up on the movie. True words never spoken, Kylo Ren. Oh, we end up mentioning the floppy disks every stream. And Fly Highland, I apologize. I just realized if you answered the question about the anime, I didn't see it. So if you wouldn't mind possibly dropping the answer again, because I really want to know what anime that is, I would appreciate it. Apologize. I will watch for it this time. I meant to watch for it before, and then I got sidetracked. Super sorry that I missed it. I'm sure you answered, and then I missed it the first time. Apologies. Kylie came to the Atlanta area in April. And I did not get tickets for that because I'm not really a live music person when there's not a VIP meet and greet offered. And there wasn't a VIP meet and greet offered. So I passed on that. But that's okay. As Dirty Harry said, a man's got to know his limitations, and that's one of mine. I don't want to spend to go to a concert and do all the headaches and stuff like that unless I can have an opportunity to meet that person. So, let's see here. All hail the disc of the floppy. Let no other be as floppy. Oh, wow. Scott Knudsen, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm off to dinner, but here's some appreciation for helping keep codswallop in our vocabularies. That, my friend, while it is definitely in my vocabulary, that is Tony and Broken Vader knowing how to work together. That they read each other very well. And have a great dinner and travel safely and enjoy your evening. Also, Michael's Tomb Raider cannons are super cool too. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was a really fun sort of checkbox moment getting those HKs finished. Which reminds myself, I need to some point after it's not so hot anymore. I need to go back to the range and enjoy those a little more. I've never met nor talked to Master Son, and I rank him beyond top shelf of individuals. His rep is that strong. Yeah, and he really is. He's an awesome guy. He's one of those people that if he needed help with anything, like all he would have to do is just ask, and I would be in the car headed his way, like, or on a flight or whatever. Like, if he ever needed help in life, I would drop everything and go help him. I don't understand how people think this channel is negative. I can't tell him how many times I've had Superpowers dance craze stuck in my head. Yeah, that that one, and the other one people love is swing dancing micro Han Solo. Yeah, no, that I appreciate you saying that. Thumbs up. Some people they get weird about they don't like, their sense of humor doesn't allow them to hear something funny and sort of deprecating about something they like, and they don't want anybody. They think it's all disparaging. They don't see the fun in it. Are there any annual high-profile toy conventions in Louisiana? I would love to go to one. For one, it means that I'd finally get to see the National World War II Museum. For another, it means I get to see some friends who I know live in the area. I'd be up for it. I just need to know what it is and when. Speaking of HasLab, Michael, did you see the HasLab Omega Prime debacle with the quality control issues? I did. Thankfully, mine didn't have any and survived the review. Let's hope it survives just life in your collection now. That is freaky. Next Doctor Who releases look like either season 21, 16, or 13. Come on, 13! Oh, I want 13 to come out before they cancel it midstream. Yes, Treebot, I'm aware of Omega Prime. Yep. Who he is and what he is. Yep. And I can understand why they were critical of it being a HasLab. There's no point in doing that because Transformers fans are going to buy it. A character like that they've been waiting on, they don't need to HasLab that. Just pre-order it. It wouldn't be a RetroBlasting live stream if someone didn't ask about the floppy disks. Very true. Very true. I mean, yeah, you're right, Jeremy. This is why we should collude more. Fly Highland. Oh, I believe it's called Nekopara. And to be honest, I just needed a picture of some anime cat girl mates and found that on Google Image. And for some reason, eventually, I ended up using it as my profile picture. Okay. Because at first, because it's small. When I first saw it, I was like, "Is that Showman Sample?" And then I looked closer, and I was like, "Oh, that's not Showman Sample. That's another show." And I'm like, "Okay, I got to find out what that is." I'm now going to do the whole thing. And see if I can't get this. There it is. All right. So now let me see if it's actually on. It is. So I'm going to, I'm logged out. Of course I'm logged out right now I'll have to go, sign in, but thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate that. Hello there. Anything you are working on repairing currently? Yes, we've had so much rain this May, June, which is great, but it prevents me from doing the final peroxiding of the Terradrome side panels. So once I'm able to do that, that's my next restoration video is finishing the Terradrome. I'm hoping I'll be able to do that this week or next, or well, not this week, next week. So I'm holding out hope that I'll have one sunny day to get that done. Who would you like to write and draw a Danger Girl Tomb Raider crossover? That would be Andy Park, the guy that drew. I would want a team up. I would want J. Scott Campbell and Andy Park to one of them do half the run and the other half do the other half of the run, because I'd want it to be a mini series. So, and I'd want both of them with J. Scott Campbell being the Danger Girl creator and then Andy Park being the quintessential Tomb Raider artist for comics. I'd want them to both team up on that. Hey man, I just moved to the UK. Wife is British. Lucky you're living in the UK. Based on your experience here, are there any toy shops you'd recommend? I know there's one in Camden Town Market, but again, I haven't lived there in many decades. You need to get hooked up with some of the British YouTube channels like Reynolds Reviews, Universal. They always change their name, and I can't remember what they're called now. They're called Universal Toy something or another now. Hold on, let me find it. Universal Roland's Reviews is one. So there's Reynolds Reviews and then there's Roland's Reviews. There's Shabby Geek. You got to get Shabby Geek would know. And then all of those guys, they're always on. Oh, what did they change their name to for their show? I can't find they changed their name, and so I can't find it in my subscriptions now. It's here, but I can't find it. I'll have to go I'll have to go talk with them and see if I can't get it's not Collection Connection. It's I can't find it. But you need to kind of get familiar with those guys. I bet even Chasing 80s Toys would be able to tell you about toy stores in the UK. Yeah, Chasing 80s Toys would be a good one to get involved with too. Everybody do me a favor and ask Michael if he's coming to DFW Toy Store. Time just got away from me and money was weird this year. Hopefully we can finally make that happen next year. Let's seriously, Master Son, let's plan now to make that happen next year so that all that doesn't get away from me. And I apologize that I'm missing it for the second year in a row. I really apologize. It's not that it takes time to make one, Paul. It's that people weren't watching it. People weren't watching it, so there was no point in making them. Moon Jockey, longtime viewer, first-time commenter. Your videos have been inspirational to my own. Oh, well, that's very humbling to hear. Thank you. I hope to collab sometime. I'll definitely pop up on your radar in the near future. Thanks for all your stuff. You're very welcome. I'll definitely pop up on your radar in the near future. Is somebody rocketing up through the stats? Oh, do tell. Hey, Michael, you're going to be going to DFW as a guest of Master Son 42, asking for a friend. Michael, what do you think of the Kirk Douglas movie Saturn III? Haven't seen it in a really long time. From what I recall, it's a really intriguing concept that, from what I remember, it didn't quite come off exactly the way they wanted it. But I need to revisit it. I kept planning on buying it on Blu-ray. I've got it in my Amazon wish list, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it. Graham Miles, will there ever be a review of the Defiant in the same way there was one of the Flag? Would love to see that series rounded out. Yes, it is on my to-do list for this year. It's been too long. Yes. As a matter of fact, Jeremy Kerr provided me very kindly the very item that I needed to make that video possible. And I've got it sitting there with the Defiant right now so that I can get that going and do that. So you will see that video finally happen. That is actually on the thing for the latter half of 2025 is the Defiant review. That's one of my get that checked off and done. Let's see. I don't really visit toy stores, but from experience, the Forbidden Planet is always very overpriced. Okay. I've heard that as well. I've never been to Forbidden Planet, but I should have remembered that one. Thanks for bringing that one up. I think on one of the streams, you said you were going to watch Beast Wars. What were your thoughts on the series if you did end up watching it? I have it all. Lio Convoy he's understandably irritated that I haven't sat down and watched it all yet, but I'm about to finish out my Thundercats viewing, and then I can finish that script, and then I can move over to that. But I'm also fixing the subtitles right now on Toei Spider-Man. So that's like a whole thing. So it's like, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Michael, just arrived back in Utah from Joefest. Can't believe you were there and I ran into you. And I can't believe I ran into you, but I was really glad I did. It was great meeting you. Leicester Vintage Toy Shop is worth a shout. It's the shop of the Toy Shop on Tour guys on YouTube. Oh, interesting. Okay. See, good to know. Master Son is going to make t-shirts proclaiming your attendance at DFW. You know what? And if that's the case, then I will make sure that in the weeks leading up to DFW that I, wear it on camera, provided it doesn't have anything on it that is offensive or makes me look weird or, whatever, because I already look weird enough. Michael, doing my first fully scripted video on YouTube rather than ad lib as I usually do, and I keep having to redo because I keep sounding like you. The English language is the English language, sir. You don't have to worry about that. It's like saying sitting next to a table is Michael French's thing. You can't copyright sitting next to a table. You just write it the way you need to write it and then roll it, and we'll be there to watch it. How's it going? How's it going with you, Aaron? Huge fan of the show. Thank you. What do you think of the new Super 7 O-Ring G.I. Joe Series 2 figures that's been announced, including a once-a-man Cobra Commander figure? I mean, Matthew LaCroix already did the once-a-man Cobra Commander figure, and I have his. I don't like Super 7's pricing. I don't know much about the quality of the O-Ring figures that they're doing. I'm sure they're probably serviceable. I haven't really looked into it, honestly. Any Super 7 fans, feel free to chime in on that O-Ring line to let Aaron know the consensus. Yeah, Ragamuffin, prices have gotten ridiculous. They really have. Venkman, if Lio was here, he'd probably say, yeah, that's true. If you ever do a Beast Wars review, I can loan you most of the figures if you need them. Oh, well, thank you, KBA. That's very kind of you. LJ Costanzo, thank you so much for the super chat. Throwing on a small bit of appreciation from Southern New Jersey. Keep making vids. I'll keep watching. I'm scripting my next vid starting tomorrow. So yeah, there's a lot coming down the pipeline. I intend for there to be another video before the end of June. So hopefully you'll see that. As a 90s kid who loves Power of the Force, I always value and appreciate your perspectives as an 80s kid. You're welcome. Never find it negative, always informative. That is very nice to hear. It's always nice to hear that instead of the opposite. Someone needs to send Michael a busted up A-Wing so he can complete the Rebel ship repair saga. You know, what's funny is my vintage A-Wing, the only thing that was wrong with it was the fact that the sound wasn't working on it. Oh no, that's not true. It also had a sort of loose landing gear. I ended up popping it apart, but for whatever reason, I can't remember why I didn't do that on video. I think I took photos of that for Facebook. I'll go back and look into that and see, because there was a reason. It was like there wasn't enough there to do a video of, or maybe it was like a day where I was bored on a Saturday and just wanted something to do, but I didn't want to like get the camera out. I can't remember. Oh, I've mentioned them. And I have the figures. I don't have any of the vehicles. I hate them. I'm going to be giving them all to Jeremy Kerr as soon as I get some B-roll footage done of them. I didn't like them in childhood. Did not like them at all. That's why I never bought them. I thought they were gangly looking and weird. I didn't have a problem with the show. I didn't like the toys. If one toy company could get the rights to James Bond, who would you choose? I would choose... I'd choose somebody like Valaverse or Jada. Valaverse or Jada Toys, I think, would do a good job. Let's see. When you are negative about something, you make it funny, so it has entertainment value. You're definitely right about people's sense of humor. Thank you, Moon Jockey. I appreciate that. Bjorn, it was good to see you at Joefest, sir. It was good to see you. You know what I found out at Joefest directly from the horse's mouth? I found out that the staff at Robot Chicken watch RetroBlasting. John from Robot Chicken came up to me because Seth Green was there for one of Matthew LaCroix's limited figures that he did. And he was doing signings and panels. And John, who was on the Robot Chicken crew, came up and said that we love RetroBlasting, and if I was ever out in LA, they would want me to come by the studio to give me a tour. That blew me away. that was crazy to hear. Very, very humbling. Very humbling. What vintage figures or toy lines do you wish would get reproductions? Well, I wish they'd done a better job with the whole Indiana Jones Kenner line. I wish they'd done a revival of the 2008 Indiana Jones line. That's all I can really think of at the moment. I wish they would handle the Star Wars retro collection better, but they're not. I was gangly looking as well, sir, and maybe that's why I didn't like them, because it reminded me too much of myself. Is there a Jimmy Stewart film that you really enjoy that's not a well-known one? Yes. I enjoy his Anthony Mann westerns, which you could argue are becoming increasingly better known now. They were very well known back in the day, and then they kind of fell into a little bit more of obscurity as they got older. But his westerns with Anthony Mann are excellent. Bend to the River, Naked Spur, and then there's a film he did right at the beginning of the war before Pearl Harbor. It was, I believe it was a late 30s film, might have been very early 40s, called The Mortal Storm. That's a really good movie. I have that on Warner Archive Blu-ray. Bjorn was there. I ran into him multiple times. Hey, Earthman Brick, hope you're keeping well and that life is treating you fairly. Fair to middling. Yeah. Yeah, that was wild, Cute Fluff. That was really wild. John is here. If Silverhawks were the most strikingly gorgeous action figures of the 80s, Cops and Crooks were the nightmare fuel. Yeah. Yes, sir. Do you have any opinions? Would ever make a video of the Kenner Man of Steel line from the early 90s? Oh, there's no videos on that. I remember those being in toy stores when I was in high school. Yeah, I remember those really well because I was collecting the comics of Superman at that time. So I was surprised to see that they were doing an action figure line based on those comics, because that in the 80s that typically didn't happen except with Secret Wars. So yeah, I mean, if I had the figures, I'd totally do a video on them. I don't have them yet, but I'll definitely keep that in mind for sure. I have a video on Patreon, Brian, that I did for top tier patrons of the 3 that I did pick up. I was at a toy swap, and a guy was selling the set broken up, and I picked up the Han Stormtrooper, the Dr. Evazan, and the Luke Yavin, and I left the other 3 behind because they really weren't worth it. And the other 3, the only one in that set that's really worth owning is Dr. Evazan. Even the Han Stormtrooper and the Luke Yavin are not great, and I picked them up to showcase the problems with them. But Jimmy Stewart has nothing on Patrick Stewart. Why are we even comparing these 2 guys? That's like, what a petty flex. Like, Charlie Chaplin's got nothing on Tom Cruise. Like, what's up, Jesse? Good to see you. Finally got to get here to see Jim. I finally got to get to hear the Jimmy Stewart. I've got a girlfriend now, and I just got back and have to catch up on your stuff. Keep rocking, Michael. I got a girlfriend now, and I just got back. Is she in Canada? Is she? Be honest. Let's see. Do you have any thoughts about Transformers 1 not getting a sequel? Hasbro and their relationship with their movie division and Paramount and all that stuff, it's a mess. I'm not surprised they've mismanaged it and don't know what they're doing. I'm not surprised at all. That's all going to fall flat and fail. Everything regarding anything Hasbro owns looks bleak. Exactly, Brian. Exactly. Cops and Crooks action figures versus cartoon counterparts. Crazy. You like Cops and Crooks? You're going to trash another one of my favorites, Michael? Not the show. Not the show. Might be the opposite of Bionic 6. The show's fine. Those toys, though? Ugh. What are your favorite dinosaur movies apart from Jurassic Park? My favorite dinosaur movie is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Have you seen the dinosaur that they cast for the lead role? But no, seriously. My favorite dinosaur film that's not Jurassic Park. Can we call Godzilla a dinosaur? I'll say Godzilla movies. I know I'm cheating. I personally haven't been around at yard sales enough to make that claim. So I can't say that I've ever found anything. I found a Kenner Han Solo laser pistol at a garage sale one time. So there's that. Shut up, Flanders. What would Jimmy Stewart sound like doing the Space, the Final Frontier speech? Oh, well, these are the voyages of a starship called the Enterprise. Yeah. And our crew is good. It's real good. I think Charlie Chaplin has about 2 inches on Tom Cruise. Here's a petty flex. I'm a cousin of James Cagney. That's actually really awesome. So, I mean, that's not a petty flex at all. That's just really cool to know. You stay where you are, see? Did you pre-order Hot Toys Dial the Indy? Hell no. Why would I do that? Why would I want that? No. What a waste of $300. What a waste. Let's see. Michael, what are your thoughts on the new Hasbro Pulse Vintage Vader tie? It looks great. As much as I loved the Power of the Force 2 when it came out for trying to get more correct to that Starfighter, I always thought it looked a little janky in the window cockpit proportions and the top hatch. It was very weird. So, and that's one of the few Power of the Force 2 vehicles that I've still kept and own and didn't replace with a vintage one later or whatever. But not that I don't love the Power of the Force 2 vehicles. Most of them are all top shelf toys. They're all great. I just was a Kenner collector. So vintage Kenner. So when I saw it, I was like, wow, like I would really think about getting that one. Like I would like to get that. But then they said it's $140. And I was like, well, that's stupid. I'm not going to pay $140 for a TIE fighter. You got to be out of your damn mind. So typical Hasbro. It's just, you know. I really enjoyed hanging with you, Master Son, and Scuba, and getting to put faces to chat names, shake hands with friends I've only seen on screen, hugging it out with past friends. Thanks for a fun day. It was great hanging with you too, man. I always love opportunities to see you and spend time and talk and all that stuff. I wish we could do it more often. I know we've all got lives and you're about to have a life, but you know, but no, we should do it when we can. You can call Godzilla a dinosaur, just don't call him late for dinner. That's very true. Very wise words. Let's see. Thoughts on the Delta 17 figures? I showed them earlier, Jeff. I got one as a sample. They look pretty nice. I mean, they're nice enough. They look like they're putting. I'm now joining Starfleet. They're nice enough. I don't know if I'll be like really buying into that line because I've got so many videos I've got to do. I really probably don't have to make any purchases for the next 7 years if I really applied myself. So let's see. Would you be interested in having some diorama terrain for your figure sets? I could whip up something for you if you like, something to mull over. Well, that's very kind of you to offer, Earthman Brick. I will give that some serious thought, because at times I've been like, oh, it'd be nice to have a background here, something like that. Of course, the problem is that for every video, the terrain stuff changes, and then the terrain demands change, and then you've got to find places to put those dioramas later, and space is always an issue. But I will definitely give that some thought. That would be really cool. Thank you. Thoughts on the retro collection figures based on the prequels? I have some. They feel wrong. Well, yeah, because the vintage prequel figures will be the Hasbro ones. So that's their first toys for those movies. They don't need to have Kenner style toys, really. So it was a weird idea of them to do that. It was a weird nostalgia bait play. Yeah, and I bet you the reason they had access to that bomber in that movie was because he was an Air Force pilot, an active service sort of like, veteran. I bet you they were happy to provide him access. I've heard Dana Carvey's classic Jimmy Stewart impressions. I haven't heard anything he's done recently, but I remember back in the 90s when he would do those. Yes, very much so. I bet you I could if I worked on it. He has a very distinct cadence. I'd have to work on it, but I can hear his voice in my head, but I'm not confident I could do it right now. So, what are your thoughts on the most recent retro collection box set? I just said earlier that I did a video for Patreon about them, but Dr. Evazan is the only one worth buying. Let's see. Yeah, $140 for a 4-inch scale advanced tie. Stupid. Do I have a favorite board game that's not a mass market one? My favorite board game that's vintage is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. My favorite board game that's modern, don't really have one because I kind of got out of board games. Oops. I heard that Universal considers dinosaurs as their IPs and was able to strong arm other studios into not making big budget dinosaur movies. They tried to sue a museum in '93 for the word Jurassic. This is the problem with these corporations. Those are not copyrightable words, and every single museum in the country should pool their resources and take Universal to court. Well, it's a fine enough movie, but it's very like and then. I would say, based on what Anthony Mann said about working on it, it doesn't have a lot of energy to it. It's some of those films that he made, that he kind of guilted Anthony Mann into directing for him, that weren't the Westerns, they don't fly. Like they're just kind of things that Jimmy was interested in at the time and fixated on, like Thunder Bay. What's your favorite part about restorations minus the finished product? Favorite part about restorations is finding those solutions and seeing the work truly like improve the toy or repair, in that moment, knowing that knowing the effort you put in created a viable result. It's very satisfying. Oh, last call with Troy Pacelli is here. Michael sent you a DM to see if you wanted any of the figs from the most recent Target Retro line. Managed to snag if you want. Oh, okay. Okay, that is super kind of you, sir. Yeah, I will hit you back. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we've been talking about Joefest on and off throughout. It was a good time to see friends. I didn't buy anything. Found out Robot Chicken's crew watches RetroBlasting, which is really, really, really humbling. Got to meet a few people in person for the first time. So yeah. Well, there's been an hour and 46 minutes going on. Do you think for an hour and 46 minutes I sat here quietly and just stared at the camera? That would be the only way that you didn't miss a lot. Oh, I see. Well, aren't you famous man about town? Enjoy yourself. How do you balance collecting things you love, want for your collection versus stuff you need for videos? And how often does that cross over these days? Most of the time now I find myself ending up buying more when I do buy for videos rather than any passion. I'm about to start figuring out how to offload stuff that I no longer need because I've done the videos. Because I need space more than I need stuff. I'm not emotionally connected to most of this stuff. I did collect for myself throughout my life, and I was still collecting that stuff, which I won't get rid of. But some of these lines that I got for toys or for videos, I will be offloading those. Logan, thank you for the super chat. Michael, have you looked at the Patriot Force Kickstarter? Do you think it ever had a chance of funding? I'm not even aware of what Patriot Force is. So I'd have to look into it. But are you implying that it didn't fund? That might just be economy, and maybe much like with Street Humans, maybe the concept wasn't as good as the name. Well, in Street Humans' case, the name sucks also. But maybe the offering wasn't worth the price. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Right, exactly. But he was a huge advocate for the Air Force, and Strategic Air Command was in the 50s. So he would have still had the ability to do that. You're welcome, Michael. You're very welcome. Yeah, terrible send-off. Terrible, terrible send-off. Yes, he's excellent in Harvey, Victor, but Harvey is not an obscure Jimmy Stewart movie. That's one of his most famous. All right, be safe. Fly safe. Michael, I'm a little mad at Mattel for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Jurassic World toy for around 80 to 90 bucks. Are you talking about that stupid comic convention diorama? I'm not mad at them. I just think it's laughably dumb. Why would anybody want that? No, I could care less. I figured that was the case, but I just decided to turn it into a joke anyway. Take it easy, KBA. Good to see you. Oh, sorry to hear that, Shazoom. Sorry your girlfriend left you. Thoughts on Hasbro remaking Vader's tie? Well, I just talked about it. I would have loved to have owned it, given it looks like they did a good job on it, but the price is ridiculous. So I'm not going to. Thank you, Eggs. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Really. Thanks for joining this puppet show. So yeah, absolutely. I really would have liked to have bought that TIE fighter, but not at that price. That's extortion. I won't do it. I have not seen that, George. I have not seen that. The Michael is the reason I started my toy restoration journey. I didn't know that, Cute Fluff. You do such good work, and on toy lines that require so many different techniques. I'm humbled to know that. He gave me the confidence to do it with his restoration videos. Well, that is awesome. I don't know what to say, but I'm really humbled to hear that. Lazarus, I stopped playing D&D and tabletop role-playing games when I got into high school, not because I didn't like them. I still have all my rule books and stuff for a few of the games. But I just got invested in other activities. And it was a double-edged because my brother, who's younger than me, that was really his thing. And he was obsessive about it. And he would constantly try and drag everybody else into it and stuff. And so that he didn't help the situation is what I'm saying. So, yes. Adult Swim, Robot Chicken. Yes. Seth Green. Yes. I don't think Stan Solo has any plans to make figures like that, Crossbones. I haven't heard anything about that. Yes, the art print. Yes. That is safely tucked away where it can't be until I get a frame for it. Yes, that art print you got for me, man, is amazing. I got to get that. I got to get that hanging soon. Universal did drop the one lawsuit because they realized how petty it made them look. Yeah, they should have realized how petty it made them look the moment they suggested it to themselves. Badgering other studios, meanwhile, is continuing. It's the reason why the Godzillaverse has no dinosaur cut. That is so stupid. I mean, if it wouldn't bring out the crazies, I'd do it. What's your plan for the things people donated to you for safekeeping? Oh, no. Those aren't going anywhere. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things I bought for videos. No. Donations aren't getting sold to strangers. That's not happening. Nope. I will not support Patriot Force. My 2 cents. I don't even know who's behind it. I'd be curious to find out who's behind it. Oh, yeah. Mando, I've been bullied as a collector. Oh, yeah. Bullied at my office as a 40-year-old man. When I was actually not even, it's like, oh, you're going to bully the guy who's the one dude all your kids, when you bring him to the office, want to come visit his office. It's the thing that keeps your kids, behaving and not getting bored at the office. But no, please make fun of me for it. You try and make life fun for people and they'll find ways to be negative at you. Let's see. Yep. Good advice, Brian. Good advice. Yep. Look at Stan Solo's UK site for sure. Let's see. Michael, if you want to offload those Mattel Jurassic World Legacy Collection toys, can I have the Jeep 18? I'll pay. You mean the one I customized to have the tire and the side mirrors put on? I put the side mirrors on it with the tire, because I customized mine. I even swapped out the undercarriage so that it didn't have the working winch. I put that on the Nedry one. If that's literally the one you're talking about as seen in the last video, but I wanted to make that clear. Let's see. Michael, what's your favorite ensemble war film with big stars? A Bridge Too Far, The Longest Day. Well, my emotional favorite is Battle of Britain. My objective favorite is The Longest Day. I think Battle of Britain and Longest Day are both equally effective Herculean feats. I respect A Bridge Too Far a lot, but I don't think it quite sticks the landing. I own it, of course, but it's not the one that I go to watch when I'm watching a war epic. I either watch Longest Day, Battle of Britain, but as far as like a war film in general, my favorite movie of all time is Lawrence of Arabia. And I know that's World War I, but just putting that out there. No, I haven't really ever regretted that random poster. No, so because my toy collection is a toolbox for my videos. and it's been very effective. And you only have one guaranteed life on this planet, and I'm not going to sit around worrying about that kind of stuff when there's so much more to worry about in life. So the future is guaranteed to no one. So it's a little odd that American Tail 5 Goes West was Jimmy Stewart's final movie. Do you consider that a decent send-off? Look, he decided that was something he wanted to do, kind of like Orson Welles on Transformers. I don't think it's anything that bruises his career. Making kids happy is never a bad thing. Michael, been collecting Kenner Star Wars for about 6 months now. Any advice for a newish collector? I would collect what you like from the line first. Don't get obsessed with completism. That's what I would say. And I'm a loose collector. I would not get hung up on repro weapons. I would focus on enjoying the process and enjoying what you acquire. Since you love pulpy adventure films, is Big Trouble in Little China one of your favorites? I own it. I have it on the latest Blu-ray or 4K or whatever the latest release was. I've always kept up with it. I like it a lot. I would not say it's my favorite. I mean, my favorites are the ones that are more ancient mystery kind of movies. I consider that movie to be an action adventure, martial arts, kung fu kind of film. I much prefer, I like it a lot because it's John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, but as far as those kind of pulpy adventure films, I prefer things like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Secret of the Incas, King Solomon's Mines, the one from 1950, not the one from 1985. Those are more my speed. Do you think Lucas's agreement with Brooks about not making Spaceballs toys is still in effect now that the mouse owns Lucasfilm? I hope not. I think it's beyond time for Spaceballs to get toys. I may be able to answer that. The figures I can see every day. The money, I have no idea what it felt like to have, if that makes sense. Money comes and goes. That. Patriot Force also started their initial offering with 4 army builders with the heroes as stretch goals. I think that was a mistake. Yeah, that is a mistake. Whoops. D&D 5th edition is worth trying out. Well, again, for somebody that, wants to, spend the time to play those games, that's great to know. But I probably won't be looking into it because I spend most of my working time and even my spare time exploring media and stuff like that. So that's really more what I got into as I got older. I just want to say thanks to you all. Well, you're welcome. I call May 2010 Legacy Millennium Falcon the coffee table. Yeah, I mean, it is. Thoughts on the new Hasbro Kids line? That X-Wing is a joke. Yeah, the problem with that one for me is I don't mind the S-foils being manual necessarily. I hate the permanent blast effects on it. And especially the blast effects coming out of the engines when that was never a thing. That whole thing, that whole toy is a misguided concept. Will we ever see a video essay on Andor seasons 1 and 2 now that R1 is finished? Probably. But I want to. Rogue One took it out of me. All right, like that was basically 6 months with 3 months of hard work focused on finishing that video. I've seen Andor season 2. I own Andor season 1. I have my opinions on it, and I would be happy one day to talk about it in depth. But right now I need a break from Rogue One related stuff. I need to just take a break from it for a while. So that probably won't happen until next year at the earliest. So, hey, there's no guarantee in life that we will be able to go through it comfortable. So nobody can guarantee your comfort in life. Oh yeah. I'm not doing that. No, I don't break my promises. Never. Oh yeah. I'm with you there. Melinda loves to josh me a lot too, but not about that stuff necessarily. But she does, she does needle me about other stuff. Sorry for hitting the microphone. Speaking of which, I should warn you, Michael, I've gotten a few "bro, you watch Nekopara, shut up," and such comments over the years, which always confuses me until I remember my PFP is Nekopara. You know what? I don't give a crap about what people think of my favorite anime series that I watch. I mean, my favorite anime series of all time is Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. And then a close, they're probably even Steven, is Haganai. I like what makes me sit up in my chair and lean forward and get engaged. And I also like what makes me laugh. And if there are going to be people out there who get all hand-wringy, in many ways, it's like when people look at me crossways when I say my favorite singer is Kylie Minogue. If you are the kind of person that is that insecure and protective of your image of masculinity to that level that you will literally come down on other people, and you're not comfortable enough to just admit to enjoying something because it's not in the big damn book of sheer manliness handbook or whatever, it's awful, then I pity your life. I pity it. Because yes, there's a lot of things that guys like that I also like, guys, brosifs. But I'm also not worried about liking other things that they would say, oh no, I'm not even going to consider that because some stupid reason. When I was at Xenia, when I was at the Xenia toy show, I didn't find it, but the one thing I wanted was an original plush Grumpy Bear from Care Bears. That's what I wanted. Just that one. Now, I don't have a problem with Care Bears. I don't want to collect them, but I want that one for my personal toy collection. I didn't find it. One day I will, and then I'll have it. But I don't care that it was, a cartoon that appealed more to girls back in the day than boys. And I don't care about that. I just like what I like. So yeah, I that's why I was asking you. I have no problem on a live stream right now saying, Fly Highland, tell me what that anime is. I'm gonna go watch it now. As soon as I get done with this stream, I'm probably gonna kick back with a late snack and start watching Nekopara. And I'm fine with that. I had to dip out for a bit, but we'd love to see you at the Tennessee Jones booth at Fanboy this year. When is that? I might be able to make that happen. When is that? As long as it doesn't conflict with the Video Game Expo in South Carolina this July, I might be able to do that. That'd be a lot of fun. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I must thank you, Michael. Oh, you're welcome. Because thanks to you, I started collecting more Star Wars figures, even though I only have a few Kenner figures and some spaceships that are not complete. Well, don't worry. You will be able to complete them. You will. It's just time. It's just time. I've seen Battle of El Alamein. I have not seen Tank Force. Most of the films haven't been released in Britain since VHS, and they refuse to put them on streaming. Physical media is so important. Sure. What have I gotten myself into? Let's see here. Yes, I'm still reviewing cartoons and other media that's related to cartoons. So yes, I'm still working on those, Maki. I've not abandoned cartoon reviews. I'm just like right now I'm working on subtitles to correct for one, and I'm trying to get everything ready to do a video about the Lost Voltron cartoon series. So I've got things in the works. Let's see. I don't think they're too expensive. I mean, look, this channel does not solicit donations. Meaning gifts. I will always try and do that kind of stuff myself. But I also know that this community is also very generous, and you guys are some of the best people. I used to joke a lot on the Saturday live stream that I had to be careful about. You want to answer people's questions, but then when you do, you've revealed stuff that then suddenly it's like it shows up in the mail and you're like, oh no, I wasn't asking somebody to buy it for me. I was just giving my opinion on it. And oh no. I put it to you this way. I would be humbled beyond belief to know that somebody wanted to, that somebody wanted my reaction or whatever, or assessment of a toy so much that even though they heard that I liked it a lot, but I couldn't buy it or wouldn't buy it for myself, but they wanted that. It's happened in the past and they wanted my take on it anyway, that they just went and got it and sent it to me. So I have to say, I'll say it like this. Because of past precedent on that, I can't look at you and turn you down, but I don't want you to feel obligated to do that. However, if you're hell-bent on doing it, I wouldn't turn it down, but you'd also have to agree to the fact that I would have to be allowed to put at the start of the video that this video was made possible by you. And if you want to use a pseudonym, you have to tell me what that pseudonym is. But that would be the caveat, because I would want my audience to know that you literally made that video happen. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Oh, well, thanks, David. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, sir. Oh, you can. But doesn't that affect the way the engines look, the two top engines? Because if you boil and pop those off, aren't the engines then missing huge chunks of the detail inside? I'm not sure how they put those on there. I feel like they would be missing like a huge chunk of engine detail at that point. Maybe I'm wrong. Sure, you're welcome, Alex. I think the millennial generation, especially where pop culture is concerned, tends to get way too obsessed with positivity, but it's all surface positivity. I think you guys can often be very shallow about your definition of positivity. And and you're more interested in surface positivity than actually real valuable discourse and real valuable results. I think you guys get caught up in the window dressing of positivity versus actually making things better, which would make it more positive for everyone. It's a generational trend. It's something to do with your upbringing with the whole go team and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad you're here. What do you think of this year's new Superman movie? I haven't seen it, so my only thoughts are I'm going to wait and see. Yeah, we'll see. But I reserve judgment until it's out. That would be the best cartoon series of the 1980s. Would be probably a tie between Thundar the Barbarian, Dungeons and Dragons. Robotech is definitely, because of the nature of its source material, probably the best. I still have a holdout because I want to reassess Galaxy Rangers. I feel like that's a somewhat obscure lost gem now. But yeah. Well, don't twist an ankle, and have a great night, sir. Thanks for being here. Oh, you did find him. Good. I'm glad you did. Okay, good. Now do you have 4 LOM? 4 LOM? Let's see. I've always loved the trilogy collection Falcon. Yeah, the OTC Falcon is the maximized potential of the Kenner mold. I love the OTC Falcon. Wish I still had it. Might be tempted one day to pick it up again. I love it so much. I own Galtar and the Golden Lance on Warner Archive DVD. I've watched a number of episodes. It's a fun show. I know it's getting another season starting July 5th. I can't wait. Yeah, that's part of what I'm going to go into. But also, Alex, you're letting your millennial flag fly again, because you're doing that thing where you've revealed that you're more of a you think Star Wars has to be Jedi lightsabers in the Force, and that's just not fucking true. Those of us that grew up enjoying things like the Rogue Squadron books and X-Wing Flight Simulator, and we watch the original trilogy for what it is, which is a civil war of rebels fighting in a post-Jedi, post-Force user environment. We always saw lightsabers in the Force as rare and esoteric. So for us, rebels fighting the Empire with blaster weapons and stormtroopers on the other side of it and starfighters, that's Star Wars. Lightsabers and the Force are just bonus icing where relevant, where appropriate. I don't need it for it to feel like Star Wars. I got other problems with Andor's window dressing that make it not feel like Star Wars at times. But not having Jedi and glow-in-the-dark wiffle bats and the Force, that's not necessary for me for it to be Star Wars. You're going to tell me that a movie or a TV show that's about smugglers and bounty hunters and people like Han Solo, or literally characters like Han Solo and Chewbacca, wouldn't be Star Wars even if no Jedi were involved? Really? I quote Donovan. I quote Donovan from Last Crusade to Indiana Jones. Is that the limit of your vision? Chronically knows what I'm talking about. Chronically knows. been following you for a while. Why do you think there was an abandonment of 3 3/4 inch by companies? Being able to use Star Wars, G.I. Joe with Black Hole, Buck Rogers, and Fisher Price equals good times. One of the trends was just because Ninja Turtles blew up and it was bigger. Ninja Turtles became so mega popular. The only reason I think Hasbro stuck with the 3 3/4 inch line at first with Power of the Force 2 was because they could recycle all the Kenner the Kenner vehicles. But if they didn't have the Kenner vehicles, I think they would have gone in a larger scale. And now all these adult collectors are addicted to the 6-inch scale. One person told me the reason they were is because their eyesight has gotten bad and they want to be able to see the details on the figures, that was the first time I'd ever heard that, but it's just collecting trends. So, oh, well, thanks. Yes, sir. Let's see. Let's see here. I recommend checking out Annie News channel to keep up with anime news, especially with returning series with new seasons or movie announcements. Thank you, Jesse. I will do that. I really appreciate that. I watched every cartoon I could on Saturday mornings as kids. Most of them I didn't care if it was for girls. It was only the time my dad had no say in what was on the gotcha. Did you pick up Oh no, because I didn't go after the classified line. I've got plenty of G.I. Joe figures in both O-Ring and 25th anniversary. I'm not going to go after those. Oh, okay. I will look that up, Ragamuffin. Thank you. I will do that. I really appreciate that. Yeah. An action figure. Yeah, I've got all the Haganai statues, the Rascal statue that Jason Anderson gave me, and I've got Uzaki-chan on the shelf in my media room, my TV room, here in the studio. Absolutely. Speaking of liking what you like, I love the the one I want though that I don't have yet, and I'm trying to get it for a somewhat decent price. I'm trying to get Miss Ryu from Don Machi from the Pop-Up Parade lines, but those particular figures from Pop-Up Parade have not gotten imported here easily, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Speaking of liking what you like, I love the Ewoks. Many Star Wars fans look down upon them, but I love those little dudes. I'm attempting to track down all the 3.75-inch figures. Some are, yeah, the last 17 ones are stupid expensive. Thank you for the idea that curiosity is important. You're welcome. I've made it a part of everything in my life, and if I think I won't like something, I say keep your curiosity and check it anyway. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with ending up not liking something, but sitting around saying I know I'm not going to like it, so I'm not going to check it out. Well, that's thin, Riggs. It's okay if you don't talk about something you have no interest in going after. That's fine, but to throw a judgment on it, right? Before you've admitted to ever even exploring it, to saying it's all garbage and I don't know anything about it. Well, that's like, I can sit there and say I've watched enough J.J. Abrams movies to know I don't like J.J. Abrams. And I was able to predict that Force Awakens was going to be crap. And then I sat in the theater and it was crap. And that's when I said, I'm not going back to seeing the rest of these movies. But you've consumed enough of it to know, right? But if you've watched nothing, you've consumed nothing, you've studied nothing, you've researched nothing, and you hand wave it away and say, this is all garbage, well, then you're just full of shit, you know? Don't send a grumpy bear. My brother loves the streaming services. Thank you for the super chat, by the way, Bradshaw. My brother loves the streaming services, but I don't 1 minute 1 week. You might have something, then the next week you might not. Right? Yeah. That's a real problem. The way they have that revolving door of content. So let me see here. So if I go back and going back here, I just realized that I never saw a response from the person that asked me about the I guess I'll have to go back and you asked me about the Vader tie. Just if you're still on the stream and you're insistent that you want to send that, just email me at retroblasting@gmail.com and I'll provide you an address. Like I said, I won't turn down generosity if you're hell-bent on doing it, but I do ask that I'm allowed to credit you for making that video possible. So that's my only caveat. So let me see here. I have a hard time going back and finding things after the oh gosh, it's here somewhere. Might be, I don't know, I might have, oh well. All right, so I'll just go back and find that later. Okay. What's a generalization, Eeks? Let's see. Sorry, I'm just I didn't mean to get quiet here. I'm just looking at wow, that's crazy, Tim. So sorry that happened to you, especially because it involved me. Sorry if I indirectly, because people were so mad at me, they made trouble for you. I'm really sorry to hear that. I think it's more to do with wanting to put a smile on knowing you live in a fallen, degenerate age where you've had little power to affect positive change. That's valid. That's very valid. That's very valid. You know. Oh, if you're referring to my comments, Eeks, then about millennials, yeah, it's a generalization. But guess what? You know what else is a generalization? That the World War II generation is the greatest generation. And yeah, they're owed that because they fought that war. But we all know that not everybody in that generation was a good person. Not everybody in that generation was the greatest, right? So generations are defined by the broad strokes that affect that generation's demeanor. So whether you like it or not, okay, let's take my generation, Gen X. Whether I like it or not, Gen X is defined as cynical, reality bites, and they're sarcastic. I'm definitely falling into that category, and we just want people to leave us alone, and we're anti-establishment, and we want nothing to do with the world order. Not all of those things apply to me, but some of them do, and I recognize that they do apply to Gen X totally. Like in total, the dominant reputation of Gen X is deservedly that, for many reasons, some of which were imposed on us by the previous generation and the way they treated us. You might say to me, oh, I'm not like all other millennials. Well, no shit. You're an individual. Duh. But your generation's cultural reputation is not up to you. That is something you cannot control. I knew a guy from the greatest generation who fought in World War II, and he was an alcoholic abuser and a child abuser. All right? He was a violent, horrible man. Would I consider him part of the greatest generation? I wish I couldn't, but his Purple Heart says otherwise, even though I know he's a scumbag. You see my point? Let's see. Michael, of any of the new Star Wars movies and TV shows, do any vehicles and characters stand out to you that you like? I would say, I mean, I collected the Black Series Andor and Rogue One figures. I like the way they're designed. I like the way they look. I mean, if I had the spare money lying around, I would have picked up that Vintage Collection E-Wing because of its connection to the expanded universe. But I didn't because it was expensive, and where would I put it? And if I was going to pick up the E-Wing, would I pick up the Rogue Squadron or the Blue Squadron Rogue One X-Wing first? And then where would I put it? I've already got one of the big X-Wings. I don't need any more. So, but yeah, that'd be the closest I would say. But again, it wasn't enough to get me to open my wallet. So, I own the Wild Geese on Blu-ray. I've got it. Watched it many times. Cool movie. Thumbs up. I did a whole video about the Warner Rot issue. It's got like 400,000 views where I go through all my Warner Brothers discs and alert people to the issue. I feel like I'm in a bizarro universe right now. My video was cited in like in news articles and stuff. Like I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm confused. I feel like maybe you saw my video and then you thought that I was somebody else. And then, what's going on here? Yes, I am going to be doing more Indiana Jones and Lego videos in the near future. I'm just taking an Indiana Jones break, hopefully. Hopefully it won't last long, but I just need to recharge my batteries on that. But yes, yeah, I have a few other Indiana Jones Lego videos in the hopper. Great talking with you, sir. Great to meet you then. Meant to ask you where you got your shelves for your collection. Watch my video called 2 Frequently Asked Questions. You will get your answer. RetroBlasting's 2 Frequently Asked Questions. Sadly, the over-indexing of Jedi is thanks to the people who wrote poor, boring stories in the EU, focusing on everyone else in the Empire and Rebels, and saving some of the best stuff for Force users. That's a great argument. Yes, same cute fluff. Same. I liked the first 2 Toy Story movies. I thought the third one was a good film, but it's not one I ever want to watch again. I think the second one is my favorite out of all of them because of the whole showing how collectors can go overboard and forget what toys are all about. Yeah. We talked, Jason, we've mentioned Hagenai, and I told them I was working on the script. Someone asked me if that video would be coming soon. Showed them that I'm working on the script. Then we talked about some other anime stuff and perceptions of watching anime versus people's perceptions of anime and stuff like that. So yes, Hagenai has come up. I have verified I'm working on it. I showed a little bit of the script over here, showed the file, the document. Maybe that's what I'll jump back into and work on tomorrow. But I got to get another video going in the meantime, but I got to get that done so I can do that video. Then maybe that's what I'll do. I've decided tomorrow I'm working on the Hagenai script. That's right. Showman samples, awesome. Hilarious, hilarious show. Jason, thank you for the super chat. Better late than never. You're too kind, man. It's good to see you. No idea when they start filming. No idea. My favorite game was when they took Kyle Katarn and made him a Jedi, because that's what everything did in the expanded universe. I loved the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games because I loved anything that played like Wing Commander with multiple story branches. Yes. Curious what the subtitling issue is you're having with Spider-Man. I got the episodes off archive.org, and they were little low res, but they had subtitles, but like 5 of the episodes just cut off. They don't have the rest of the episodes on, and they all cut off in different places. So then I went and got a bootleg Blu-ray that was mastered from the official Japanese DVD, which is very hard to find. And it showed up, and it has all the episodes complete, but the subtitles are messed up. So I'm having to go in and fix the subtitles by using the low res versions as a reference, and then making decisions. And it's not the first time I've subtitled Japanese content, but I'm worried about what I'm going to have to do when I get to those episodes where I won't have a reference in the low res because they're cut off. I'll probably have to use Google Translate or get my friend Steve's wife, Yoshiko, to help me or something. I'll figure it out, but yeah. Yep, it is. Isn't it exhausting, man? It is. It's stupid. It's just flat out stupid. Well, I mean, Michael is awesome. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you, sir. He gave me some great pointers on what all Playmobil sets I needed to get everything the Back to the Future DeLorean need. Oh, A+. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I really enjoyed that line, and I enjoyed collecting it, and I had a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun with Playmobil. Playmobil's great stuff. Really, really great stuff. Love this place because it's so real and honest. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Remember, everyone thinks they're the hero in their own book, and then you realize no one's really important. No one is the main character. Fucking yes. 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 I picked up what you're putting down there, Jason. Let's see. Thank you for the super chat, Zigma. Love the Wild Geese, but with Richard Burton and Richard Harris co-starring, it's a wonder they ever got out of the bar to film anything. That is for damn sure. That is for damn sure. I'm working on that. I gave an update on that at the top of the show. Let's see. Lester, thanks for the super chat, man. For all the insights the company kept while I worked through this possibly lame duck life. Even the spitballing from conversations have entertained. You're very welcome, sir. I'm glad you don't hate me. Thanks for being here. Really. No, you do not confuse RetroBlasting. Well, I mean, come on, man. That was a confusing comment. I mean, given what the question was versus the video I did versus the fact that all the answers to your questions were in that video, and that video was the video that alerted people to the rot problem, and like, let's see. Isn't it amazing how much YouTube sucks? Like, that Warner Brothers DVD video was one of the few videos this year that the algorithm has actually promoted. And it's gotten close to 400,000 hits, and that's the one he didn't see. So it's bizarre. It's why everybody who likes their YouTube channels should always make sure to not wait for YouTube to spoon feed them the content. You need to spend at least once a week going to the channel pages of your favorite YouTube channels and checking out their latest videos on their channel pages. Do not wait for YouTube to hand it to you, because otherwise you'll be 3 years out and you'll be watching a video that you think is new, and you'll be sending me messages saying, "Oh, wow, thank God you made a new video. It's been so long since you've made anything. I thought you quit YouTube." Do you know how many times I've gotten messages like that from zeros? And I'm like, I've made 45 videos since the last video you say you saw. What? That's funny. I haven't seen any of them. Well, no shit. It's probably because you're like Bender with that arm in the couch that's pouring the beer into his mouth, but it's missing and hitting his chin. Just go to the fridge and get the beer yourself. Michael, I love your video on real life X-Wing, aka the Spitfire. I wonder if you're going to make another real world comparison to Star Wars. Maybe at some point. It's not something that's like a pattern kind of thing. You can't force that. It's that's just one of those. My passion for the Rebel pilots and my passion for World War II aviation naturally dovetailed because of what George Lucas built that around. But I'm not going to start forcing connections where there aren't any. So yeah, that's a rough one to collect. It was rough 7 years ago when I collected it. Do check out Perfect Girl Evolution when you can. Definitely my go-to when I need a laugh. Perfect Girl Evolution. Okay. I will do that. I don't see it on... Is it on High Dive or Crunchyroll, or is it something I'm going to have to like track down? I'll see what it's on. But I've got it pulled up now. Thanks for the recommendation. I don't think this is your wheelhouse, Michael, but a video on why there was a Disco Star Wars LP would be interesting. I have that LP. I think it's sealed from Miko or whatever they were called. Also, I have a poster I'd like to send you. Oh, wow. I might be able to help a bit with the subbing issue, just a bit. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. If I get stuck, I'll send up a flare. Apologies for the misunderstanding. I'm conflicted. Oh, there's no misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding at all, Damon. And thank you for the super chat. No. There's no misunderstanding at all. Like I said, I mean, if you're really like wanting to donate that to the channel, that's fine. I'm not asking for your real name. I'm not saying I wouldn't. It's just, I just like people to know how helpful the community is. I don't. RetroBlasting exists to this day, 13 years later, because all of you believe in this channel. If you watch my channel, you'll know. Like, don't get me wrong. Donations like this are gratefully appreciated, and they're important and they're essential, because my channel doesn't solicit for donations. We don't do mid-roll ads, because we want this to be the one place on YouTube where you still watch a channel where you can sit back and enjoy the video without being interrupted by 50 ad breaks, and also have to listen to me go, before we start the video, let me tell you about your VPN. Or before we start the video, let me tell you about my sponsor, Manscaped Ultra, for the smoothest balls in the world. Like, I don't want to do anything like that. I want you guys to have the best video experience as possible. And that means that you guys are essential and have been at keeping this channel afloat and growing all these years. So I don't want to misconstrue what I said. I am grateful, and I want to be honest about the fact that when I hear somebody like you say, would you accept a Darth Vader TIE fighter, you know, and I go, yes, I very much would. Like, that's super kind, generous, and it's very, very, very nice of you. Is there, please let me credit you in some way, because you're one of those people keeping the channel afloat by doing that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I hope I've explained myself better than I did earlier, because maybe I just didn't say it right, which I'm known for doing, and then pissing people off and all that kind of stuff. So, oh, thank you, Sugar. I appreciate you saying that. RetroBlasting is a YouTube channel for adult pop culture enthusiasts. Anyone age of 13 should... Yeah. Oh God, that's funny. Because every toy bro and Hasbro needs dolphin smooth junk, because someday someone other than them. Not having ads is so nice. It's so pretty. You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Thumbs up. Thanks for the super chat. My fault. I was first alerted to the issue through an online article. I'm going to find that video after this live stream. Sure thing. Sure thing. Hope you enjoy it. Oh, man. Oh, trust me, if it was a satire video like Eternals or Funko Pops, I'd probably do it. I'm sorry, people, but if you donate that as a gift, gifts are not an expectation. That person should own that thing until we croak. That's my opinion. No, that's a very legitimate thing, Cute Fluff. I agree with you on that. And what's nice is a lot of people have said, hey, you don't have to worry about keeping this after, you know, I just would hope that you do a video about it or something like that. But some of the things people send, yes, your statement is universally true. But what I want to hold on to some of these things because they were special to somebody back in the day, and they did take good care of them. And some of them end up being a spatial burden. Like, I never wanted a Defiant, and then I end up being donated a childhood original. And then I put all this work into it to bring it back from the dead. And then it's really hard to, you know, even if I considered selling it, it'd be really hard to sell because you can't hardly ship the thing. You'd have to ship it on a cargo pallet or something. So it's crazy. But no, your statement is 100% valid. That right there. I did forget to talk about ED medication. You're right. I gotta work that into my opportunistic ad statement so that I can get more of those sweet sponsorship dollars. I forgot to tell you that I did get a vintage Kenner Bestman Luke complete, and it's truly one of the best Star Wars toys. Awesome. I love that figure. That figure is tops. Appreciate you saying that. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. Hello, Hot Dog. It's good to see you here. But what will I know? How will I know what to weed my pumpkin patch with? Oh, man. I remember at Joefest you mentioned there's one Kenner Bestman Luke variation you don't have. We have a bunch of Kenner figures at work. I could check tomorrow for it. Oh, thank you. There's one that kind of has like orange-ish hair. It's kind of like an orange hair variant. Some people call him red hair, but it's orangey. That's only major one I don't have. Also, I like the khaki safari shirt you're wearing. It reminds me of the exact shirt Harrison Ford wore in Temple of Doom. Well, in point of fact, this is the Raiders of the Lost Ark shirt. The Temple of Doom shirt The Temple of Doom shirt has slightly shorter epaulets. They don't come as far over the shoulder, and it has darker buttons, but otherwise it's identical. Yes, this is an Indiana Jones shirt. What is your take on how COVID has changed collecting? I think the hobby is going to start going back to normal. It's starting here the last few years. People have been selling off their collections and getting out of it. They did it while they were bored, and now they're going to go back to going to the lake and stuff like that. So what anime have you been watching? Me, I just finished Even Given the Worthless Appraiser class. Okay. Yeah, I started that one. I'm like 6 episodes into that, and then I kind of backed out of it because I wasn't getting a lot of laughs out of it. And I've watched a lot of those fantasy shows, and I didn't hate it. I've still got it in my watch list. I'll swing back around. I've been watching I can never pronounce the title of it. I had to get it on Blu-ray because it's no longer on any streaming services, but I've been watching Sedokai Yakidomo. Sedokai Yakidomo. It's a comedy. It's kind of a body comedy. I've been having a lot of fun with that. And I've been watching Godanar, and I've been watching Pat Labor. So I've been kind of moving between those. Doesn't putting all the work into a donation like the Defiant make you kind of bond with it? Yeah, it does. When you put that much work and money into something, once you're done with it, even if the restoration isn't exactly the way you want it, sometimes you've still put all that sweat equity into it. And so, no, you don't want to. You don't want to necessarily give it up so soon. Take it easy, Maki. Tony did just snag an orange hair Bespin Luke. That's right. I think the new mask toys look very well done. I don't want to buy into that line because they can't make anything that wasn't made by Kenner. So that means they're never going to make a shark. So I don't care. But they do look nice. How do you manage storage display space between the collection of items you purchase versus those that are donated? It must be a challenge. Yeah, it is a challenge. And so when people donate things, depending on the size of the donation and everything like that, it's something where I want to protect them and keep them safe and everything like that. If they're display worthy, like in a sense that there's a way they work organically into my collection toy room display area, then they'll go right in there. I love it when that happens because then they don't really take up space. But I have some lines that have been donated by people and some toys where they're in there and they're safe and everything until I figure out how to do a video with them or something like that. Well, he's been looking for the Farm Boy orange hair Luke, which is very expensive and impossible to find. That would be the one that would take years to find. I've seen them in person, mint condition, loose and carded. They're very, very, very rare, and I stay the hell away from them. Yeah, Godanar is awesome. Godanar is hilarious. It is such a great show. Pat Labor's great too. Have you seen the anime K-pop Dawn Hunters? I haven't, but I'll check it out. Have you ever watched the anime Gate? I have that in my watch list on High Dive. And I've watched the first few episodes of it. Yes. I have. Yeah. Yes. I have that in my watch list on High Dive. Oh, that reminds me. I got to get that Orgus disc ripped for you, Jason. Oh, really? I'm not surprised it is. It's so successful. Is good for the most part, but doesn't play in other role play other countries very well. The US makes. Oh, okay. Any tips on not getting collecting fatigue? I find no love for my Star Wars collection anymore, especially new stuff. Star Wars collection anymore, especially new stuff or Stan Solo stuff. Just can't find passion anymore at Disney. Well, then you got to know yourself and move on. There's nothing that says you have to keep collecting. I stopped collecting toys and refocused on collecting my Indiana Jones kit and, buying physical media. I just moved over. Yes, we have watched Apothecary Diaries. Great show. I'm already up to date with it. I've watched it from first season before second season ever came out. I have the new Blu-ray of first half of season 1. Thank you, Tractor Man. I appreciate that a lot. Really do. Do you think Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Hasbro other properties will go the way of Power Rangers in the scene? Well, if that's any indication, Hasbro wants to just collect licensing checks. They don't want to make things anymore. With the way they're leaning into AI and stuff like that, they want to just be a royalty check clearinghouse. Hasbro's scum. Yeah, it wasn't the one that crashed recently from Biggin Hill. It was the other one that has the I can't remember if it's the Irish Air Force symbol on it or the Free French. It's one of those, but it's not the one. I checked when the news hit. It wasn't the one that belly landed. Happened again. Every live stream. These were given to me by Master Son 42. They are literally floppy disks. They are coasters for drinks. Let's see. Does anyone know if the new mass toys will be 3 3/4 inch? They're like, I don't think they are. I think they're sort of within. I don't think they are. Loyal subjects mask. Scale. Yeah, they're I can't really yeah, apparently they're 124. 2.5 inch tall figures. Yep. So, well, if I could, I'd live there. I want to pop back over to the UK as soon as I can, but right now with flights and everything and prices and just money being short, I wish I could go there and not come back, but it won't be for a little while longer, but I will get back there. I need to. I will probably do that next month. I gotta wait a little longer. I gotta short my funds. I bought some Indiana Jones stuff, Drew. Kind of wiped out my bank account. We should, Bankman. We should. Yes, I watched Samurai Pizza Cats in the UK in the early 90s. Yes, I've watched all of Solo Leveling, and I've watched all of Anime Boy's Solo Leveling Abridged series. I really like Solo Leveling. It's my favorite action show, modern anime action show. All right. Oh, crap. I've been going for 3 hours. I'm so sorry. Will there be a hat roundup in the vein of the Artisan Maker series? Probably at some point. There will be. Yes. I've got a number of new hats that I need to talk about because I've put together a video. I think I've got enough to put together an interesting video. But yes, there will be. I'm trying to see if Damon responded to my last thing, but I don't think he did. All right, well, either way. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. I got a jet so that I can get some dinner and start watching Nekopara. But you guys have yourselves a great night, and new video coming soon. You'll see it on Patreon first, and then everybody else will get that video soon. So, and yes, there are more follies coming. More follies coming. All right, everyone. I will talk to you soon, and thanks for being here. Bye.